Hi. If you're watching this, you probably hit the title card or link below the video description explaining what in the world am I doing. So, a while back, this has been a couple of years since I last updated this, I was doing a run of my favorite game, Shining Force 2, specifically a Nuzlocke of it. So, what this means, first off, Nuzlocke. Nuzlocke is a run through a game. I believe it originated from Pokemon Red, but it's basically a run through the game where you randomize characters of some variety, and you play through with the idea of if a character dies, they're dead forever. Usually there's frequently other rules associated with it, but that's the general gist. And it's frequently in games that you have a large variety of characters. The idea being that the randomizer throws you off, you don't necessarily know what's coming up next, and the die once, die forever means that you need to worry about your party, because otherwise you might be stuck with things that aren't very useful. And I played through Shining Force 2 as a Nuzlocke, and failed. Main character got killed. As a result, I failed the Nuzlocke. But Shining Force 2 is my favorite game, and I really liked the randomizer that I was playing. So I decided to continue. And that's where we are today. So I want to give you a description as to what in the world this randomizer actually is. So presumably you've already watched the video that I explained Shining Force 2. If not, hey, editor me. Bam. That's the wrong side. Bam. Yeah. Card should be up there. It's also in the description, link to that. But long story short, what I did was I created a spreadsheet that handled the randomizer. It randomizes the class of every character in Shining Force 2. The way it does it is I basically loaded up the spreadsheet with the details of all the characters from base Shining Force 2. So, like, Bowie as a swordsman. Is it? Aw, kitty. Bowie is a swordsman, Luke is a birdman, etc. That's what I considered base stats. From then, I figured out, okay, what's the difference between each of these character classes? So, for an example, what's the difference between, say, Rick and Chester, who are both knights who can promote to either paladin or Pegasus Knight? They have different stats, so what's the actual difference between them? So I figured out, okay, the way the game's doing this is basically having one quote-unquote primary stat. So there's a chance of any stat being a primary stat, any stat that somebody has at least. Okay. I also took the rough ratios that are in the game and made those the weighted percentage chances of things. So, for instance, in Shining Force 2, there's a large number of knight or knight-like characters. So as a result, the highest chance that you can have of a character class is of a knight or a knight-like class. In my Archer Force 2 run, it appears as though knights have basically not shown up, at least as of yet. We'll find out if we get a knight at some point. So from there, I basically have the spreadsheet generate the random classes. In addition, there is also random spells for any of the spellcasters. So for instance, mages. Mages start with Blaze. All mages start with Blaze. There's only 2 mages in the game, so it's really easy to make that assignment. So if you're a mage, in the randomizer, you're getting Blaze, but you also have 3 other spells, and those are randomized. So you could end up with Blaze, Heal, Aura, and Boost, which would be awesome. I'm okay with this. You could end up with a bunch of status effect spells, which are completely useless, and make yourself the least useful character ever. In Shining Force 2, there are 2 characters that are what D&D would refer to as partial casters. That is to say that they only have 2 spells instead of the full 4. That would be, in normal Shining Force 2, that's Bowie and Slade. Bowie, as in the first character, will always have spells as a at least partial, if not full caster. So in the randomizer, Bowie always starts with Egress, which is the spell he normally starts with. It allows you to run away from battle. I kind of had to do that just because somebody has to have egress, otherwise this becomes impossible. The second spell is completely randomized, and I won't necessarily know what it is. For Slade, as a ninja, what I did was, rather than it being, okay, all ninjas get 2 spells and you always start with Katon, what I did instead was that there's a random character... Ooh, lightning. That must have hit something. There's a random character that ends up getting magic after promotion, which is the way ninjas work. It's that thieves don't have magic, but ninjas do. So there's a random character after promotion that will end up getting partial magic, and I don't necessarily know who is going to get it. So all of this randomization gives you a spreadsheet that will say, hey, look, these are all of the classes. These are all of the stats. In fact, hold on. I can probably find the spreadsheet really fast. One moment. Nope, can't find it. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But anyway, all of this basically gives you a randomized spreadsheet that will tell you, okay, these are the stats that the characters are going to have. These are the spells the character is going to have. These are the classes the character can use. As per normal Shining Force 2 rules, I have characters that have the ability to promote, have the same promotion options. So, for instance, swordsmen will always be able to promote to heroes. Priests will always be able to promote to either vicars or master monks. I'm planning on making a tool to be able to make this randomizer more easily and share it with the world. And that tool will probably have options to also mix up what classes somebody can promote to. Just because. Anyway. There's one class in the game that when you promote, your magic changes. That's a sorcerer. That's a promotion from mage. So the way I have sorcerers working is that all sorcerers start with Dao, and the other 3 spells are randomized. And basically, by promoting the sorcerer, you're going, okay, this mage, I'm re-rolling this mage to see what I get out of it. Other than that, all characters will start with the earliest weapon that they can get of their respective class. This does mean that archers are a little more powerful than normal. So that's the reason why the beginning of Archer Force 2 was actually fairly easy. It's because the earliest weapon for archers is significantly more powerful than the earliest weapon for any of the other classes, since you normally don't get archers for a while. But I decided it was unavoidable. Maybe in a future revision, I might decide to make a crappier version of the weapon and add it to the game. That way it's at least a little more balanced. Not sure. Anyway, so this generated a giant spreadsheet. And then I sent my spreadsheet to a friend of mine, Reckner. He basically randomized. I told him, keep randomizing until you get something fun. And don't tell me what it is. Just randomize until you get to something fun. So the way the spreadsheet works is that it will re-randomize every time that you change a cell. That's the way most spreadsheet randomization functions work. So I had him do that until he got a cell. Then he copied all of the values from that page, pasted them into a different tab. That way, if there was any other cell editing, it wouldn't end up messing up and wiping out all the contents. From there, he used a program created by, I believe it was Big Nail Cow, called Shining Force 2 Edit. It's an editor for Shining Force 2. It works reasonably well, given that it was made in VB, and you can do all of the edits that I just said. Now, there are some glitches as a result of this randomization. So, for an example, the game will actually store, hey, look, this particular avatar goes with this particular character. And when you promote, the game will go, oh, hey, look, this character promoted to a ninja. Thus, they get the ninja promoted avatar, which there's only one character with that. Because the randomizer has the chance of having more than one ninja, that doesn't work. And as a result, people are going to be looking a lot like promoted Slade. In addition, there is a glitch, or there's not really a glitch. It's more that nobody ever thought about it. Because some classes can have 1 promotion versus 2 promotions, that means that you end up having to insert in promotions in the table inside of the code of Shining Force 2. And the game doesn't exactly expect that. So it messes up a lot of visual display things. What I may end up having my future randomizer do is give you the option of just randomize classes without changing whether a particular character has 1 or 2 promotions. That way, the outside of battle sprites don't end up getting messed up because all of a sudden you have Bowie with 2 promotions and the game doesn't know what to do with the second promotion. So the second promotion Bowie looks like unpromoted Sarah, and that just gets messy fast. Unfortunately, I didn't think about that before Archer Force 2, so it's kind of messed up. Apologies. It constantly throws me off. I'm glad it's not a Nuzlocke anymore. What was that noise? Oh, I think it was an email. Anyway, so yeah, use Shining Force 2 Edit to edit the ROM. From there, I have 2 patches on my ROM, and you'll actually see in the videos of Archer Force 2 that I have to reapply the patches. I don't know if I forgot to ahead of time or what have you, but the first patch is to allow for 3-digit numbers for hit points and MP. So in base Shining Force 2, if any of your stats, whether that's hit points, MP, attack, defense, whatever, any stat goes above 99, you end up getting question marks. It's kind of like the game's way of displaying things above 2 digits. You just get question marks. The idea was that that would be the way you would describe boss stats. In reality, you also get that on the characters. What this patch does is allow you to display 3 stats, which everything in the game uses 3 stats. Or 3 numbers, not 3 stats. So, as a result, you now know that you have 142 hit points, for an example. At the point of Archer Force 2 that I'm at as of recording of this, which I have just entered the cavern to go to North Paramecia for reference, so I'm actually very far ahead at this point. I don't have anything with 3-digit stats. So I'm assuming that's working. The other patch that I have allows you to search in battle. So in base Shining Force 2, for the US and European versions, you cannot search inside of battle. It appeared to be as though it was something that the makers just disabled to save up on space or something like that, because the Japanese version, you can search in battle, and it allowed you to have monsters in boxes, and there's 2 battles in the game, or is it 3? 2 or 3 battles in the game where there are treasure chests, and you cannot get to that battle location outside of battle, so those items are just lost forever in the US and European versions of the game. Turns out that it was actually just a single bit getting swapped by accident due to, I don't even remember what, but it's really easy to patch to fix it. So I have that patch in so I can actually search for items in battle, and presumably get monsters in boxes. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the patch wasn't there until after my first battle with treasure chests, so we didn't get as many monsters in boxes. So I think that's about it for the technical things for Shining Force 2, and the changes that I made to make Archer Force 2. I would love to distribute the ROM itself, except that's illegal. I would love to share the specs. So what I may end up doing is grabbing my data out of the game and figuring out a way to make a patch file for it so I can distribute my exact game in case if anybody else wants to try their hand at Archer Force 2. Hope you've enjoyed this, Internet, and now I'm going to go record the other video where I talk about what Shining Force 2 actually is. Bye! Boop.